The Netherlands is one of the world's most developed countries, ranking 5th in the Press Freedom Index, 8th in the Low Corruption Index and 10th in the Human Development Index. The Netherlands is one of the most globalized countries and offers well-paying jobs in many industries. It is a well-engineered country with great infrastructure and high level of security, where people enjoy a good life and live in prosperity. But just as in any country, there are a few drawbacks that come with living in the Netherlands. As part of my downsides of moving to playlist, I would like to address the downsides of moving to the Netherlands in more detail. The climate of the Netherlands is influenced by the North Sea and the Atlantic Ocean, so it's cool, cloudy and humid for most of the year. Wind is another characteristic of the Dutch climate, and it blows frequently, especially in autumn and winter, when there may even be storms. Compared to London, which is internationally known for its bad weather, Amsterdam has more rainfall throughout the year and more rainy days. On the flip side, it also has more yearly sunshine hours than London. Summers are super nice and pleasantly warm, but be prepared for a lot of wind and rain, especially in winter. Another downside of moving to the Netherlands is its flat terrain. About 1/3 of the country lies below sea level, and its average elevation is at about 30 meters above sea level. But hey, the highest point in the Netherlands is at a whopping 877 meters above sea level at the tip of Mount Scenery on the Caribbean island of Saba, which is part of the Netherlands. But the highest point on the Dutch mainland is only at 322 meters above sea level. There are some hills here and there, but the country is mostly flat. So you cannot go for hiking trips and cannot perform winter sports to the degree as in the Scandinavian mountain range or in the Alps. Nevertheless, the Netherlands surprisingly has a few ski slopes. But if you enjoy being in a mountainous environment with all the activities and epic views that come with it, then the Netherlands is not the right country for you. The Netherlands has a high income tax rate, which is not only a problem in the Netherlands, but in many European countries. The income tax rate is between 30 and 50% depending on your income. Once you make about $68,000 annually, the state will collect almost 50% of your income in taxes, leaving you with only half of the cake. This plays against all incentives of making a lot of money. Once you realize that every second day you work for the government, you might feel less motivated to pursue a great career. So if you are looking for a country where you can save some money on taxes, then moving to the Netherlands might not be the best idea. But luckily the Netherlands has low corporate tax rates. It has a large network of tax treaties and a full participation exemption for capital gains and profits. These characteristics contribute to the fact that the Netherlands is one of the most favored locations for multinational corporations. The value-added tax rate is at 21% for non-foods and luxuries and 9% for foods and essentials. The Netherlands is an expensive country. Living expenses in Amsterdam are about 20% higher than in Berlin, almost 50% higher than in Madrid, and about 13% lower than in London. Especially rents in the Netherlands' large cities have increased a lot due to high demand and low availability. Eating out in the Netherlands is also pricier compared to most European cities. A monthly net wage between 2,800 euros and 3,500 euros is considered a good wage that allows you to cover all expenses and live a happy life. In case you are interested in moving to the Netherlands, then it makes sense to accumulate some savings before your move. Even though the Netherlands is considered a safe country, organized crime is in big business in the Netherlands. Criminal organizations like the Mokro Mafia and several more have specialized in importing drugs via the Netherlands and Belgium's ports and distributing them throughout all of Europe. The Netherlands is the largest producer of MDMA and amphetamines worldwide. And these gangs build and control all the logistics of distributing these drugs way beyond the Netherlands' borders. The Netherlands has been described by some sources as Europe's Colombia, with the only difference being that people don't speak Spanish and ride bicycles. Even though these criminal organizations are not interested in much media attention and prefer to stay undercover, they go as far as performing assassinations in public in order to intimidate anyone who dares to fight them back. Or as The Guardian puts it, journalists and lawyers under protection or murdered on the streets, court hearings guarded by the army, and billions in dirty drug money that leaches through society, corrupting as it goes. The majors of Amsterdam and Rotterdam are warning of a culture of crime and violence that is gradually acquiring Italian traits. With record amounts of intercepted drugs at the port of Rotterdam, extreme violence that often kills the wrong target, and 15 billion to 30 billion euros a year laundered into property, coffee shops, tourism and bars. With it comes the rise of parallel societies in the Netherlands. For all the Dutch watching, how severe is the problem of organized crime and parallel societies in your opinion? How noticeable is it in everyday life, and how do you think it will develop in future? In any case, I hope that the police is able to crack down on organized crime and make them feel the full strength of the rule of law in the Netherlands. Let's return to a more harmless downside, which is irresponsible cyclists. The average Dutch owns 1.3 bicycles, which underlines how intertwined the bicycle is with Dutch culture. But cyclists often wave in and out of traffic without safety helmets. Don't ask me why anyone would ride a bicycle without a helmet, and it is worth bearing in mind that in a collision between a car and a bicycle, the motorist will most likely be held responsible. But if you behave responsible and keep attention, then you'll be just fine. The Netherlands is a very densely populated country. In fact, it is the most densely populated country in Europe with more than 1 million inhabitants. More than 17 million people live in an area as small as Switzerland. People say California is overcrowded, but once you realize that the Netherlands is home to almost half the population of California on an area 1/10 the size of California, you realize that the Netherlands is indeed home to a lot of people. People report that in rush hour there can be a lot of traffic congestion, and you are recommended to commute either before or after rush hour to avoid being stuck in traffic. But on the flip side, we also have to mention that the neighborhoods in the Netherlands are very well designed, and there are a lot of stunning parks, which don't really makes you feel like living in such a densely populated country. In the Netherlands, learning Dutch is hard. Not only because Dutch is a different language, but also because almost everyone speaks English here. This makes starting a new life in the Netherlands easy, and even official information from the government is available in English. The Netherlands has the best English proficiency level out of any non-native English-speaking country. Most people can at least speak conversational English, so if you find yourself in a sticky situation, there will always be someone to help. The downside is that the pressure to learn Dutch is virtually non-existent. It's not uncommon for people to have lived 10 years in the Netherlands without having acquired Dutch language skills that go beyond ordering a beer. The Dutch are happy to talk to you in English, so that expats never have the opportunity to try out their new Dutch vocabulary. As soon as the Dutch recognize your accent, they change to English. But learning Dutch still remains an action that shows your willingness to integrate into Dutch society. So don't hesitate to learn Dutch, even if it requires some time and effort. The Dutch are known for their directness, which may take expats some time to get used to. It can be misunderstood as rudeness when it's more a desire for clarity and understanding. Don't misread the Dutch. They are happy and friendly, even though you might have the impression that they are a bit too straightforward. The Dutch value transparency and efficiency, and once you get used to their directness, everything will be okay. And the last drawback on the list is Dutch customer service. As of reports in the internet, the Dutch service industry is renowned for being less helpful and harder to navigate than in other countries. You will not experience rudeness, but apparently the Dutch aren't exactly known for their customer service skills, even though customer is king. I didn't experience this personally, but it seems like this is a thing to consider. As always, all sources are linked in the description below. Did I forget a downside? Then please let me know down in the comments.